Hey there, welcome to Picture This Film Reviews. Dan, how are you, sir?
I'm doing splendiferous, Mr. Matthew. How are you this wonderful evening, I guess?
Splendiferous. I want to add that to my vocabulary. Um, I'm doing wonderful. And I'm excited, and you know why?
Why are you excited, Matt?
Because we're here to talk about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, the brand new fifth Indiana Jones movie in the Indiana Jones franchise. uh, Still in theaters, and it just came out this past week, and I got a lot to say about it, but I'm gonna throw it over to you first. We both have seen this, and uh, I think I'm curious to see what you have to say.
I think my wife off screen wants to say her little part of it, so I'm gonna let her go, and then I'll do mine.
Sure, we've got the voice of Cayla,
Unblur
everybody.
you,
Oh no,
unblur
we're
you.
gonna unblur. Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm magically here now. Okay, so we're talking about Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny. Okay, so I'm gonna keep this short and sweet, but I'm gonna not at the same time. Give you a little bit of a backstory here. I haven't been an Indiana Jones fan forever, but it was either last year or the year before that we watched the first three, and that was the first time I've ever watched them, and we watched them consecutively. And I love them. Love the Indiana Jones character. I think did we do a review of these movies? So have you? I
We
think we
did
did.
we did Last Crusade recently, and then I think
Oh,
when you guys were watching them last
we
year,
talked about it
we
maybe.
talked about it. Yeah.
Okay. So if you go way, way back, you'll find something where I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And I will say, like, the first three is still like, oh my God, it's amazing. So we watched it Friday night, Dial of Destiny. Um, okay, so here's my short and sweet part, but it's actually short and unsavory, I think. So I have like one sentence for this movie, and it's gonna be it is unnecessary. And that is the word for this movie, Dial of Destiny. Destiny is unnecessary. Did not like it at all. I never fall asleep during movies, but I was falling asleep during this movie. And I never do that. And I did not like it one bit. I don't think there was one redeeming part of this movie at all.
Wow.
And I wanted to go first just so I'd be like, yeah. But sorry guys. If you're
Shots
watching and
fired.
you enjoyed it, sorry.
I mean, if I'm gonna get into my review, I mean, let's talk about what this movie is and a little about what it isn't. So this isn't Indiana Jones in his prime, though they did recreate it in the beginning with some CGI effects. This is an older Indiana Jones that we visit, played by Harrison Ford. Um, and we pretty much get some insight into his life, what's going on since the events of the last movie, which is Crystal Skull, and a little bit beyond that as well, specifically with his love life and the lack thereof. So when we find Indiana Jones, when we meet up with him again, we are put back into the college professor role that we're familiar with him with, but this time instead of surrounded by eager students who are interested in him, I mean we're pretty much surrounded by students that are kind of bored of him, bored with what he has to say, and he even uses a phrase he has to spoon feed them the information because they're not paying enough attention to him. The only one who's paying attention to the audience is the character played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who is his goddaughter. Um, Before all that happens, we have a throwback of which is a more traditional Indiana Jones, where he's in an adventure. He's trying to recover some stolen artifact. Specifically, I forget what the spear was called, but it was the one that was used to jab Jesus in his side, and was said to have some magical powers, which seemed to be what the Nazis were always after in Indiana Jones film, something that had that magical piece to it. And instead of that, they get introduced to the Dial of Archimedes. Saying that correct? So
Yeah.
in that one, we find out later has some temporal aspect, is able to adjust time and space and help them travel or find a rift in time to travel to different locations. So, anyways, we get back to Indiana Jones. I don't know, how do we feel about our hero of all these movies, action star, huge love interest, and we're seeing him way down the line, and we find out one that he's not really divorced, but he's separated. And also that his son, who we were introduced to as Shia LaBeouf, though maybe we didn't love him in Crystal Skull, has passed away, unfortunately. And it seems like Indiana Jones is living kind of a depressed existence. And then after that, we're thrust back into an adventure, not by someone who cares about him or really what he's doing, but more what he has, which is part of that dial of destiny. Uh, and really, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, her character comes on. She doesn't really give two poops about Indiana Jones, right? She just kind of wanting to get that dial. She wants to get it sold, and even goes to the extent tries to lock him behind her in one of the rooms that they're escaping being chased from. And my wife's telling me not to do a screen by screen, so I apologize for that. So anyways, but my point is with this, to me, it was very disappointing that someone that we had viewed as kind of like Michael Keaton when we see him in The Flash, both of them are characters that, are surrounded by, to me, like interesting stories, adventures, things of that nature, and then they're taken out of their element, and they're kind of left with nothing in the end. It was disheartening to see that Indiana Jones's life had turned out the way that it did, though in the end he is reunited with his wife, but I feel that was more just to tidy up the ends more so than give him a true happy ending, because it seems very odd to me that he wore his ring the whole time. There's definitely some feelings that were still there. I could agree with that, but in the course of all that time, she says, "Are you really back? Are you really back this time?" And to me, is like, so if he had came back and tried to have that relation with her sooner, like maybe they could have still been together and gone through that hardship of losing a child together, and gone through that and lived out their life. It just seems like it's a lot of wasted time. And I mean, there were aspects of the CGI I really didn't think was that great, especially in the beginning. There were moments where you could turn his head, and I think there were some parts that looked good, and then there were some parts that just looked really bad. When they're on top of the train, I know that they use the CGI instead of practical effects, which I think probably would have made that go over a little better. But overall, Phoebe Waller-Bridge to me was not a likable character. I just couldn't get behind her pretty much the entire time. I know they tried to explain like her doing what she did and trying to explain or parallel her father's obsession with the dial. And then the Nazis, man, like I feel like in other Indiana Jones films, there was more, I don't know, build up. I don't know how to explain that in a different way. It seems like no matter what they did, for instance, when they blew up the boat that the Nazis were on and they took off, he's looking through his binoculars like, oh, they went this direction, not that direction. And then they just end up exactly where they are, and they knew where the boy would be, and they abduct him. And it was just like other times, yeah, they explain how they figured out what they figured out. I feel in those other movies. Here it was just like, even if they were left behind in the dust on an exploded boat, they were literally right there behind them the entire time. And just, I don't know, to me, it just didn't have the same feeling, and I do apologize. Overall, film wise, I hate to say it, but I have to agree with Cayla. It wasn't the most exciting return. It's not the send off that I would have liked to have seen Indiana Jones have. And I know there's 90% of Google users would disagree with me. If you're watching this, it's fine. It's just I I just wish there was more adventure, more old Indiana Jones, more excitement or lighthearted moments, which I think made Indiana Jones so good. And I feel like this movie really lacked that, because there wasn't a lot of brevity. The only one that he had any kind of relationship with or lighthearted moment was his old friend. And Matt, what was his name?
Oh, I know the actor's name. Jonathan Rhys Davies is the actor. I can't think.
Sala.
Sala sounds right.
Sala.
Yeah.
So really, to me, that was the only thing that was lighthearted in that movie, and like I said, it had all the elements of an Indiana Jones movie. It just for some reason didn't feel like
The
it.
thing is, it had all the elements of an Indiana Jones movie, but it beat them to death.
Yeah. Well, Cayla made a point to me we didn't realize till later. It's like the iconic theme song, the da, 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 like they segmented it and just put parts of it
Everything.
through so much of the movie that it kind of made no sense in certain parts. Like when they got in the car, it's like da da da, and it's like okay. But I'm gonna end my review. I know we got to get into the ratings, but Matt, I guess sorry to start you on a sour note, but I mean, how are you feeling about this?
Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
um. Okay, so I went in with very low expectations because I went into Kingdom of Crystal Skull, however many years ago, with very high expectations. Um, I think Kingdom of Crystal Skull is a trash movie, shouldn't exist. Um, Dial of Destiny was the exact opposite for me. I thought it was so much fun. It was return to form for me. It felt like an Indiana Jones movie to me, whereas Crystal Skull did not. Um, I was okay, but at the same time, I agree with a lot of the things that both you and Cayla brought up, like the theme just randomly playing in parts where it didn't make sense. I too noticed that and was like, why is that even playing here? Um, it felt like they were just trying to milk certain things that like pull at your nostalgia heartstrings, and they went a little bit overboard. So I 100% agree with that. Um, but I thought the plot was solid. The cast were great. I like usually try to point one person who's a standout. Mads Mikkelsen was the villain. I thought he was a standout here for me. There are some things I can nitpick aside from what we just said. The CGI you'd mentioned, it was decent. It wasn't the best. But my bigger problem was that we had 80-year-old Harrison Ford voice coming out of 40-year-old Harrison Ford face. And I did not like that whatsoever. Like it took me out of the moment. I couldn't get into it. And let's talk about that moment. The opening scene, the flashback where we see the CGI, was way longer than I thought it was going to be. I was thinking it was going to be like a 5 to 10 minute scene. It was like a 25 minute scene. It just kept going. And I was like, wow, they're really milking this flashback to give us young Indy here. And it would have maybe worked more for me if every time he opened his mouth, I didn't hear the age in Harrison Ford's voice. I feel like with the technology we have, we could have done something uh, to make his voice sound younger or something. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't work in that line of business, so I don't know what technology we have and what we don't. But with everything, all this AI stuff, I feel like we could have done something because it just took me out. I guess we didn't say at the top of the show, but spoilers for these reviews. The time travel thing at the end didn't bother me as much as the aliens at the end of Crystal Skull. Um, but it was just kind of like, ugh. Especially because maybe because I just watched The Flash, which was another time travel movie. So it's like, ugh, this seems to be the thing this summer, time travel. Um, but it didn't I didn't hate it, whereas Aliens completely hated. Again, so I think what I was doing was holding this up against Crystal Skull because I loathed that movie so much. Uh, in my mind, Indiana Jones, I think I said this on the Everything We Know About review that we did, or a preview that we did. Uh, Indiana Jones is Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, Last Crusade, and when they ride off into the sunset at the end of Last Crusade, is literally the end of the series for me, and that still holds true. This is no different. Um, I think that's the perfect ending for the series. I think it's a trilogy. I think that's what it was meant to be. There was never meant to be a fourth one. There was never meant to be a fifth one. It was meant to be three and done. And I think if you look at those three movies, it's Temple of Doom's questionable depending on who you are, but it's a quote unquote perfect trilogy. Um, so I think that's where I'm kind of like more positive on this movie because I'm holding it up really only against Crystal Skull and not the other original three, which I probably
I'm
should
holding
do.
it up against a pile of trash other than the ones that
Yes,
were the
yes,
best ones.
exactly. Because I think I didn't want Crystal Skull left such a bad taste in not only my mouth, but I feel like a lot of people, where like that's how Indy's gonna go out with that movie. This I felt way better as an end. I didn't like it. Like it wasn't the perfect ending. I agree. Like it didn't feel like the perfect send off that he deserved. But I was more okay with it than if we had just left it at Crystal Skull and been done. Um, it did make me feel like when it was over, I walked out of the theater and the music was playing the theme again during the credits, and as I was walking out, uh, I didn't get like emotional, but like it hit me. Like I was like, wow, this is the last time I'm going to be walking out of a theater for a new Indiana Jones movie. Uh, at least a Harrison Ford starring Indiana Jones movie. Um, and it was that kind of just set in for me a little bit. And I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It was not a perfect movie. It was not a, wasn't even a
Well, the one thing you haven't said at all, and I'm curious, is just how you felt about the Phoebe Waller-Bridge character. Like, what are your feelings on her?
So she took me by surprise because I thought she was going to be like kind of like Shia LaBeouf in that Team Indy, and when she wasn't Team Indy, and okay, so let's take Crystal Skull out. I thought she was going to be like a Short Round or any other sidekick that he's had, right? Um, and she wasn't. She was like the opposite of that. But they had to still kind of work together, uh, because they're goddaughter, godfather. I'm not sure why they continue to be a team. Um, Acting wise, I thought she was good. I didn't have a problem with her. Character wise, the movie could have done without her. You could have almost done the same movie without her. Almost. Tweak a few things. You could have done the same exact movie without her. So I don't think she made that big of an impact.
Well, that's one point I want to say too. I feel like this movie, runtime wise, it
That
did
was another
not
thing.
it did
Yeah,
not have to be as long as it was.
that was another thing. We no longer do the
The bathroom
bathroom
breaks.
scale. Yeah, but uh, this was for sure every bit of at least 30 minutes longer than it needed to be, questionably 45 minutes to an hour longer than it needed to be. You could have given me a hour and a half version of this movie and I probably would have loved it even more. Even I would have been even okay with a 2 hour version, but a 2.5 hour version, I agree, way too long. But again, I'm going to wrap it up. Farewell, Indiana Jones. It's been a heck of a ride. Uh, I am in the bunch that overall enjoyed this.
Oh man, and now I guess we're to the part where we have to give this a star rating, huh? Well, guys, I mean, you're hearing some of my gripes. I have a lot more gripes, but again, I'm being told that I shouldn't shouldn't expound on all of them. Um, But man, there's so many. Like the one scene where they're like leaving or they get to the airport. The Nazis pull up to the airport, and there's one guy like, "Hey, where are you going?" They shoot him, but literally all the other 30 people that are at the airport are Nazis. It was just that one guy that they shot that was not a Nazi. Like that just blew my mind too.
Also, why are they making us try to root for a criminal?
Yeah.
She is a criminal.
Yeah, Phoebe Waller. Well, I mean,
She
to
is a
some
criminal.
degree, I mean, Indiana Jones could be argued to be, similar, but he was not. Well,
That's all it was. She was just trying to sell the stuff.
yeah.
She's
Yeah, he's definitely more like this belongs in a museum, whereas she was like,
Archaeologist type.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's more like, oh, what can I get for this?
a black market.
I mean, but could you say that going into a temple and stealing an artifact out of a temple would necessarily be the best thing to do to put it in a museum? Like in his past films. All right, we're not gonna get into that. But anyways, so yeah, putting a star rating on this. I'm sorry, I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5. It's like
Wow.
I could have done without this. I mean, even with the Crystal Skull, I'm with you. I think I would stick with the original trilogy. I mean, to me, like as far as pairings go, just Harrison Ford and Sean Connery in Last Crusade. There's nothing that'll beat that for me. Nothing. And Phoebe Waller-Bridge, fantastic actor, writer, and I feel like it really missed the mark here, like by a lot. And if anything, took away from it. And I'm sorry to say that because I was really excited to see her take on this, and it just kind of blew the whole thing for me. So,
How about Cayla?
Okay, so I'm over here. So if anybody remembers my review for the movie 1408, and I said like, oh my god, I hate this movie. It was actually really, really bad.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember what the star rating. I think I gave a star rating. I think I bumped it up because I didn't want to hurt Wyatt's feelings. I'm pretty sure. But I would rather watch that movie over this movie. So I'm gonna give this movie a 1 star.
Wow.
I absolutely despise this movie, and I will only watch it because my kid wants to watch it. My kids want to watch it, but that's about it.
Wow.
I don't endorse this movie whatsoever. I actually want to go watch Crystal Skull and see if it's as terrible as this is.
Have you not seen Crystal Skull?
I have, but like it was like when it first released, so that was like 15 years ago. So I just remember there was like this blonde haired chick, and they were running around these grave sites or something. I don't know.
He gets in a refrigerator to survive a nuclear bomb and is okay without a scratch without it. And there's aliens at the end, and plus Shia LaBeouf.
Oh my god, I'll probably hate it just as much as I hate this.
I mean, I feel like for the last one, they could have gone more National Treasure, and it would have made more sense.
I agree. Yes,
like along that route, like solving clues, which they did to a degree, but
they did
more. Because in his older age, I expected him to rely more on his experience rather than his actions. Like deep sea diving and running from people and get gunned at.
They fall out of an airplane and land on the beach or something?
I think they might have. I think they might have.
Exactly. He's like 70 years old. He's running from these people, like dodging bullets. I don't believe it. It's just they could have reduced the script to something. And that's also something I said to Dan. I'm sorry, like this is gonna become like a thing where I'm just complaining. So was this a movie where they had different scripts and then like it kept getting like
I think so.
Blah blah blah. They could have done like how is this the script they went with? I don't understand. Like who are they trying to appeal to?
I think I don't really think it's Harrison Ford's fault in any way, shape, or form.
No,
I blame like all this movie on the writers. Like all of it. Like all the bad parts. Like everything.
And then also Homeboy, whatever his name was, the German dude, literally was trying to go back in time to stop Hitler, to kill Hitler.
Basically,
is he trying to become his role? Next Hitler?
Yeah, that's exactly what he wanted to do. Take his place. Because he knew all his. Yeah.
And you're like, dude, am I supposed to feel bad for this Nazi?
One other thing that I meant to bring up and forgot that I have a bit of a gripe with. How do you have Antonio Banderas in a
Oh
movie
my God.
and then basically have him as a cameo
Yeah, why was he in this?
to
Like
for
3 minutes.
yeah, for all of 5 minutes to be spoilers killed off?
Yeah.
Like it was literally
Just shot.
an extended cameo is what
Yeah,
it
it
was.
was really dumb. And
Uh,
Dan and I were like, we didn't see him before, right? We're like not going crazy, right? They just
No.
randomly brought him in.
They randomly brought him in halfway through the movie, and 5 minutes later, he was dead. It
So
was
this
like,
is my old pal.
yeah,
I'm like, oh,
Oh, my
God.
best friend.
yeah.
I'm like,
Okay. So you're at a 2, Cayla. You're at a 1.
yes.
Yikes! Now, I mean, whew, I felt confident in my rating before now, but I'm not going to change. I'm going to go with what I originally knew I was going to do before I started this. So don't hate me. I give this a 4 star.
You know who
Uh,
I'm actually really interested. You should bring Seth back on here because I want to see what Seth rates this.
I know what Seth rates it only because I have him on Letterboxd, which
Oh,
also
Seth,
does star
Seth
ratings.
probably rated this thing like a 5 out of 5.
Seth has watched this twice, and
Mhm.
he'll never watch this show, so I don't have to worry about him hearing us talk about it.
Oh,
So he did rate it 5 stars.
wow.
He's seen it twice, and his second review was even better on the second round. This movie's a blast through and through. End quote.
Yeah. No, I think it's, I don't know. Obviously, there's going to be people like torn about it. The ratings, like, I mean, like I saw an IGN just a few minutes ago, it's like 4 out of 10.
I feel like the longer this is going on, I watch movies less for enjoyment and more to like pick them to pieces.
That's welcome to being a movie critic.
Yeah, it's just terrible.
Well, I don't know. I don't understand how it got a standing ovation of 5 minutes either. There's just
Yeah, I
no
don't
way.
get that
There's,
either.
and unless they just did it because it was Harrison Ford.
Yeah, and because he was there. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be the only thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I give it a 4 star, but it's far from a perfect movie. I just thought it was a fun movie. It definitely didn't deserve a 5 minute standing ovation. It didn't deserve a standing ovation at all. And there was a lot of things wrong with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
All right.
So if you're willing to sit through to see, an epic conclusion to Indiana Jones and see him get unending, go out to the movie theater, check this one out.
yeah, I mean, it's not doing too hot at the theater. It's
Oh, really?
it's pulling in some just barely above Flash numbers.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder, well, there's a lot of factors that go into that, but yeah, okay. That kind of sucks for Indiana Jones, but
Yeah.
maybe
But-
because it sucks.
I mean, maybe it'll find a second life. That's what I mean. Flash, which I thought was a great movie. We've already talked about it. Uh, I'm hoping some way, somehow it finds a second life on streaming or Blu-ray. Maybe people that didn't go to theater watch it will pick it up there, and give it a shot. I know Dan, it was his least favorite movie of the year, but
Dude, you hated Flash more than Indiana Jones?
oh yeah,
Yeah, I think
What
yeah.
the frick?
I don't know, man.
What the frick? What?
you have that much problem with the Flash? We need to do a whole episode just on
Dude,
your
man,
problems with the
Flash
Flash.
is way
You guys
better,
gonna just diagnose my
Yes.
right? Like pick you apart.
my movie picks and stuff. I know I'm very all over the
Dang.
place, scattered, but I mean I like what I like.
What is your reasoning for that?
Whatever, the Flash.
Yes. Like you literally just trashed Indiana Jones so bad more than you did the Flash.
I don't know, man. It just to me like the
In
Flash.
the Flash you gave 3 stars, I think, right? And you just gave Indy 2, but yet you think the Flash is worse.
He's conflicted. Look at him. He's conflicted. You got to put like a little thought bubble here or something, like when you edit it.
Am I more likely to watch the Flash or the Indiana Jones movie again? Probably the Indiana Jones movie.
I wish you could see my face right now.
I mean, just because maybe there was something I missed on the first walkthrough,
Oh
and
my
it's
God. Now he's like
epic
backtracking.
conclusion to something that we grew up with. But the Flash, I mean, the Flash was just I mean, they're both hot messes. I'd really like to talk about good movies and stop wasting time on these.
Oh, dang. Just knocking
So
them both.
when I started this show, well, when we started this show, I'm not going to take credit. When we started this show, uh, one of my hopes was that one of us was going to become known as the Simon, right? This of the show,
The
and
what?
like the Simon Cowell of the
Okay.
show. And I didn't know who that person was going to be, but I wanted us to have a Simon. And I think it's all of us. I think we all in different episodes are the Simon.
Yeah,
The last or the Flash episode, Dan was definitely Simon. This episode, you both are Simon. With Cayla slightly bringing in some more Simon. And then there's been episodes, of course, where I think to myself, oh yeah, I'm gonna be tough. But I realistically, I love everything I watch. So
yeah, I'm trying to think of a movie you've actually have really trash. I don't really think there's
I don't
been
know
one.
that
I know Matt will sit there and be like, I didn't like this,
He
didn't like this, didn't like this. But it's like
I
I'll give
mean,
him a 5 out of 5.
at some point, we're gonna talk about Beau is Afraid, and I got a lot to say about that movie. But my
Oh,
rating,
I gotta get through that so that you can give
Yes.
give a review, huh?
yes, and my rating I already know is going to be higher than Dan, so I'm still not going to be the
Yeah.
Simon on that
Dan's
show.
is gonna be non-existent at this point.
It's I mean, at this point I've tried watching it 4 times.
Yeah.
So
Maybe we just skipped that episode.
I know we really I gotta get through it. Like I'm dedicated to finishing this, but it's definitely a challenge.
you don't keep starting it over from the beginning, do you?
No.
Okay.
I would never.
I was going to say because that's why you haven't gotten through it.
Yeah, I just watch the same hour over and over again. I spent 4 hours watching this.
I've been watching this for 6 hours, and it's only a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, but shit, man.
Guys, that's all for this. Thank you so much for tuning in. Keep checking back. I know we got Insidious Chapter 5 coming up soon. It's coming out this weekend as you're watching this. I'm not sure when we'll do a review on it, but once Dan and I both get to the theater to see it, we will definitely be doing that one. As well as other stuff we got planned, maybe some non-reviews. Yes, sir.
Posing a question to our audience because it seems some episodes have more than others. So if this is an episode that has 5 people that watch this all the way through, or if it has 280 people that watch it all the way through, the question would be, would you rather us talk about movies that are upcoming, or would you rather us keep doing reviews? I mean, we'll probably do a mix of both, but maybe we focus on ones that are coming out and get you some insight into what's coming down the line. If you like to see more episodes like that, and then do one of the older movies in between. I mean, honestly, we just want to know what you like because there are certain videos like the Horse Whisperer that
I was going to say they like the Horse Whisperer.
They blowing up the Horse Whisperer, but then there's other videos we think are going to do well, like for instance, The Wizard of Oz, Batman, Batman movies. They just go flat. Let us know.
We got movies with the views in the teens or even lower, I think, on some. Yeah. Yeah, let us know. Comment. Let us know if you have a movie suggestion that you want us to watch, or if you want us to do like Dan said, talk about upcoming movies like our Everything We Know About stuff we've done. We did one for this movie, Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny, and we just did one for Beetlejuice 2, which has taken off quite well. We're proud of that. Let us know. I mean, there's a few more big movies coming up the rest of this year, and then even in the next year we could touch on. And then of course, if all else fails, we can always bring back the good old wheel that's always sitting here by my side. So
Nicolas Cage on there. Oh, we are still gonna do the heck, Five Nights at Freddy's and Willy's Wonderland at some point too.
Yes, we haven't revealed that to the audience yet until just now, but yes.
Spoiler.
Yes, so that's something to look forward to also down the pipeline there. Guys, thank you so much for sticking with us. If you made it this far, everyone have a great week and love one another.
Bye, guys.